Welcome wherever you are around the world. It's great to have you along with the ride. And what a ride it's been for event 1. We move now to round 3. We've already raced in Melbourne and Shanghai, and now we turn our attentions to the Sakir International Circuit in Bahrain. We've had some thrills and some spills, to say it lightly. I am joined on the desk by Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher. Gentlemen, we are now going to have our second race of the day. It's coming thick and fast. There's so much action, but the headlines are Ismail Fassi is on pole again.
He is again, having started the season without one to his name. He's now got 2. He's getting used to that feeling. He's a driver with massive confidence at the moment.
Greedy, another word for it, and why not have another one?
You can have that quote, Tom. I'm not calling him greedy.
But in a good way. Matt, will he be able to take this pole into a victory?
It'll be a hard one. It's going to be a difficult one, of course. The lights to it wasn't a lights to flag. It was pole to victory, of course, in Australia. But that did not tell the story at all with how hard he had to work for that victory. And I think it's going to be the same story here. Bahrain gives you so much great action. I'm really looking forward to this one. When I looked at the calendar, I was like, okay, we can look to Bahrain as probably a pretty good one. But we've already had 2 excellent races.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, my expectations are through the roof right now for what we're going to see this evening.
So both looking forward to it, as I'm sure you are as well. Let's have a recap of what happened in quali and some perspectives from the drivers.
Otmir goes to 8th. Next one is Lucas Blakely trying to get through. He goes to 8th position. Longuet is out. Otis Lawrence is out as well. That's a bit of a surprise given in the open 2 rounds of the year. Petrino's gone once again. Super tight. Jarno Otmir out. Freddie Rasmussen out. Nicholas Longuet out. Again, the big names are falling in this confounding championship.
Fassi on pole again. Look at him, he's loving life.
Starting first, amazing. The lap was pretty clean. Sector 1 was, I think I was not just 20 thousandths away from my PB. Sector 2 and Sector 3 were very good as well, and that's what I got pole, I guess. Q1 lap and Q2 lap were very good. I made it, with just 1 attempt. At the end of Q2, I went out again just to do another lap, as I didn't want to have three tires for the last session, so I just did another run.
The line, can he displace the McLaren man at the front? Oh, he can! He can at the last!
It will never be easy. I know there's really good pace out there. Just want to secure as many points as possible.
Again, you see what it means to Ismail Fassi and the rest of the Williams team. We're laughing at the fact of the animated voices that you had during the qualifying.
That's a bit ridiculous even for us, isn't it? Just making loud noises when the driver goes over the line. But it shows you what a great lap it was to deliver under pressure last second to take pole.
Jarno Otmir, Freddie Rasmussen, Nicholas Longuet going out in Q2. Real surprise, some of the old guard, the old gang, the experienced drivers that we come to expect to deliver, not delivering so far. It's made it really, really interesting, Matt.
It has. What a season we've got ahead of us. Of course, Otmir has started 11th twice now. Of course, he made that 11th to 4th, in Australia, which was a brilliant drive, and of course, very different on his strategy once again. I fully expect him to do something similar here in Bahrain. He loves going different. He loves having the tyre delta, going on the attack in the last sort of 10 laps of a race. So we're not discounting them at all. Freddie Rasmussen, of course, we're waiting for that breakthrough 2025 season race, because we thought that was going to happen in Australia. He fell back. But we thought front row of the grid, Freddie Rasmussen, that's probably going to be a victory. And he was basically clinging on to a point at the end of that. So you cannot write them off, and that's the season that we've got. Unpredictable.
So unpredictable, indeed it is, because when you look at that Constructors title that is up for grabs, Scuderia Ferrari, your reigning champions, they have got a race engineer with the name of Jonah Martins, who's had previous success at McLaren and, of course, last year at Scuderia Ferrari. What's happening? I'd like to know. Let's chat to him now with Claire Cottingham.
Well, let's find out exactly that. Jonah's alongside me. It's been a tricky old start, hasn't it, to the campaign in 2025 for Ferrari. A little bit better for Barry in that the qualifying we've just had ahead of the final race of the day, but it has really been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it's been a bit tough. I think last year we had quite a few bad races in there as well. But this year, obviously, we're not off to the greatest start. We're only on 6 points. So, I mean, hopefully today we can still turn something around and hopefully end on a positive note tomorrow as well. But we need to wait and see what happens.
How much does that derail the drivers? I know that they're professionals and they start again and they go, but still, it is tricky. And if you've already been derailed from the start, how do you kind of get back onto the upward trend?
I think there's a lot about confidence with the drivers. We saw this last year with Barry. He was also off to a little bit of a tricky start. And then he got a few good qualifying performances in a row. And from there, it all starts building. The confidence starts building. Your self-confidence starts building. It's really important. And then you saw last year with Barry, he was banging in P1, P2, P3, P2 in qualifying back to back to back. And it was really positive. There was only really one bad result in there in a long streak. So I think confidence is an important thing, and I hope we can start a good run today. But with this year, it looks very chaotic already, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we've had a lot of jumbled up grids. We've had obviously new winners and new pole positions and all sorts. How confident are you? I don't mean to use the word confidence back to you because you said it's about confidence, but how confident are you that you can turn things around heading into Bahrain and then into Jeddah tomorrow?
I think we have a good pace in both of them. I mean, we've seen so far it's been very chaotic indeed, so pace has been a little bit less relevant so far, but I think for Bahrain we look strong for the race. I hope Nico can make a good comeback from P13 and we can try and fight for the win with Barry if the strategy falls well, but it's been a bit of a mix with the strategy so far. Which one works out well depends a bit on the front of the train mainly. So we'll have to hope it works out with Barry today, and then for tomorrow with Jeddah. Very chaotic track as well. Going to be a lot of DRS overtakes, so let's hope there's not too much chaos and that we can be at the front of it.
It has really been the start of the season, everything's strategy related, whereas in sim racing we kind of see sometimes it's strategy and other times it's track, whatever's happening on track. In Bahrain, are we going to see again some strong strategy calls?
I think there might be the odd one out in Bahrain, but I think the main strategy is quite clear. To be honest, it's hard to tell before because obviously we've done our preparations, other people have done theirs. So it's hard to tell what they're feeling, what they'll be doing. There's quite a few possibilities on this track. You can overcut, undercut, there's quite some options, but I think we're quite set with what we want and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Can you pinpoint exactly what has maybe been a couple of the troubles coming into this? I know you mentioned confidence. Is it just the wave of confidence that is lacking at the moment from the drivers?
I don't think it's really that much confidence. Barry was lacking a little bit at the start of Q1 in Australia, but he built it up. He qualified P4 in the end, so quite strong. And then in the race, it all fell apart a bit with the strategy, with the front runners not really swapping, driving quite slow pace because they were trying to win their own race, which is fair enough for them. But the people at the back of the train, like Freddie and Barry, both fell off out of the points even. So it's not that much about confidence. It's about the pieces falling together as well. And for Nico, I'm not sure what's really happening. We have to debrief what exactly is happening. But I think he's really, really fast. So I hope he can come back from this as well.
Okay, well, good luck for the race.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire. And to Jonah, things just haven't fallen into place for them so far. That's what I take from that. And going forward, they know they've got the ability and the skill. They just have to hope that that team's strategy plays off.
But what else can you say at this stage? If it hasn't gone to plan, you do need a result, though, to energise your season, to ignite your title challenge. And both of them would have come into this year expecting just that. So, look, one good result can change any season. That's what they're looking for. You never know, especially given the season that we're having so far.
Thomas Ronhaar, your winner last year, 23-24 season. Before that, a back-to-back win for Lucas Blakely. And they're in the front row. They know what they have to do and can possibly do. How do you see their strategy coming into this race, Matt?
There's a lot more pressure on Blakely's shoulders to get his championship underway. He's had a difficult start to the season. So him being on the front row of the grid, it's going to be really interesting to see how he plays that one. Of course, he's in a great position to just see how the race goes in the first few laps and kind of stick to the strategy. I think that's a learning that you see from Otmir, for example, in the race earlier on today, is that some drivers were starting to do quite aggressive early stops, perhaps in the way Beresne in Australia did, and they were thinking, okay, all right, we can do something different. But then Otmir just stuck with the strategy, and that's what won him the race. So I feel as though Blakely just needs to get on the podium today, for sure. It will be a confidence builder for him. I feel like he is very much a confidence driver. Once he's there, once he's in the groove, he starts smiling down the camera. He gives us 30-minute answers. Like that's the Lucas Blakely we all know and love. And I feel like just one good result for him, that will really just elevate his level for the rest of the season.
And I know I'm being very facetious when I say it. One win, will he give longer answers or shorter answers after a race win this season?
Longer,
okay, that is good to know. Well, let's put Lucas Blakely and Ronhaar together to see how they will be approaching this race.
How would I beat Thomas around Bahrain? Bahrain's actually one of my favourite tracks. I've really enjoyed driving it for many, many years. It's always one of the ones that I look forward to, especially towards the start of a season.
Lucas Blakely will be one of the most tough guys to beat in a qualifying session, especially on Bahrain, especially with turn 1.
Moves into turn 1, it's Fassi versus Manley, and there's a more contact in the background as well. Ido, Pedreno and
Which I'll come to again in a second, is going to be the most important corner of the whole track in terms of overtaking and where the most crucial moments will happen. And yeah, I think if I can stay ahead before and after turn 1, then I have a very good shot to win.
3 cars for victory on the last lap of the opening race. Lucas Blakely with a brilliant run with DRS closing.
Yeah, Bahrain's all about, there's a lot of entries where you're really carrying the brake, you're really trailing it, and the turn 10 sort of downhill left-hander is probably one of the hardest braking zones to perfect. You're combining entry, turn-in with braking, and that's really where you're literally on the limit of what the car can do, what the tyres are doing. That's probably the corner where I think over the years I've always been able to really carry good entry momentum, but without really sacrificing way too much in the exit, and also being able to utilise the amount of track there, being able to maximise the curb usage. Yeah, it's probably one of my best corners on the track.
Really enjoying those for this season in the F1 Sim Racing World Championship is those verses, like two drivers pinpointing. Yes, a shout out to the confectionery of a bounty there.
No, not if it's a bounty. No, you're better than that.
No, but do you know what, Brendan Lee? He's so against a bounty. I need Brendan to get more focused. Thomas is getting distracted there. Since 2019, Jarno Opmeer has finished second 3 times, got a win in 2020. Comes down to that tyre strategy as he starts in P11. What can he do as we look at the possible strategies?
So we've got starting on the soft, starting on the hard. No one fancies starting on the medium. It's an intriguing one because there does tend to be quite a bit of an offset the strategies that you see around this circuit in the past, but taking nothing for granted given what we've seen in the last couple of races. If you go for the hard, you're going to get that slower launch off the line. You're going to have a tough couple of laps at the start of this one.
The most improvement in terms of race position last year was 7 places. Simon de Weigang did it, Ismail Fassi did it, and of course, Jarno Opmeer. An intriguing race, Matt. Who's going to be taking this? I'm putting you on the spot, and just you alone.
Oh,
I don't ask you enough questions in the quali show.
You know what? Let's go with Ido. Ido's going to win from P4.
I love that.
That would be outstanding.
No, I'd just like to be different. All right, I could say Fassi, could say Blakely, who's won a lot. Let's go Ido.
Okay, I like that. The Racing Bulls.
I'm sorry, Ido, in advance for protecting you.
The Gallagher curse.
Alpine will be very
Locked
happy
in.
with that. Alex Jakes, Matt Gallagher, all the best for this race.
Thanks very much, Tom. Where do you go when we commentate?
Into a hole.
Oh, your mic's down. Never mind. Cool. Thanks, mate. It's time for Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir. 5.4 kilometers, 3.3 miles, and 15 turns for the drivers to make use of. I genuinely wanted to know. I don't know. Anyway, one of the great circuits of the year, and this is the starting grid for the 3rd race of the year. Joni Tommela is in 20th place. Then it's Joris Krozen in 19th. He had a starring role in China, but didn't have the point score that he wanted. Armed with his bounty, Brendan Lee goes from 18th place. Then it's Duncan Hofland starting from 17th in the field. Then we have Pookie down in 16th. He's scored in both races so far in his rookie season. Pedrino goes from 15th. It's his first start of the entire campaign for Williams. Then it's Otis Lawrence, who finds himself in 4th place. Nicolas Longuet is in 13th for Ferrari. Expect him to move forward. He is always strong around this racetrack. Then the Red Bull pair. What a row that is. race to be in the middle of the pack. Expect forward progress from the Red Bulls. Jarno Opmeer ahead of Freddie Rasmussen. Next up, Alfie Butcher in 10th, ahead of Julas Ozilderem, who was a pole sitter in the second round, makes Q3 again. Good one-lap pace from him. His teammate is ahead of him. Tom Manley is in 8th, and it's Thomas Gal, P7 on the grid for Haas. It's his 3rd start in the championship today. Barry Bromand is in 6th position. Danny Beresnay starting this race again from where he did round 2. That's P5. Josh Edo has been tipped to win by Matt Gallagher. He goes from 4th on the grid. Thomas Ronhaar was in the mix for both of the wins of the last 2 races. Can today be the day that he stands on the top step? Back on the front row is Lucas Blakely, and Ismail Fassi has the pole position. Fassi absolutely superb this year. 2 poles in 3 rounds.
And there he is, ready to go for this Bahrain Grand Prix. Can Fassi convert his 2nd pole position to a 2nd victory? That would be quite some going for him. There's Lucas Blakely, 2nd on the grid. He needs a result. We've been saying this. This could be where his championship really begins, and he's got a great opportunity. He loves this track. It's his favourite track. And I just know what that feels like. When you just sit down and you're like, this is my favourite track. You just feel better. You just feel confident. Yeah. And it's shown. You know, to be 2nd on the grid is no mean feat. So Lucas Blakely will at least want to stay there, if not move forward and take the victory. But it's going to have to be clever. It's going to have to be calculated. Don't just take the lead. Here we go.
Here come the lights. 3, 4, 5 red lights in Bahrain. F1 Sim Racing is underway and racing down to turn number 1. Fassi is well off the line. Blakely's going with him, though. Who's going to be last of the late breakers down into turn number 1? Pole sitter converts the lead. It's what he needed to. Will they all make it through the tight sequence of corners as we make it through the line with the top 3, as they were, as they left the grid? Then it's Josh Edo in 4th. Tom Manley gaining plenty of positions. He's not the only one. He's brought his teammate as well as we make our way through. It's nicely done further forward. Not the getaway that Danny Beresnay wanted. He's down to 9th position. Fassi holds the lead.
We've got different tyre strategies up and down the field, which is what we like to see. We're going to see this unfold throughout the 29 laps of this Bahrain Grand Prix. But Tom Manley on the soft tyres, up 3 already. You've got Tamas Gal as well. You've got to look to the inside there from Edo, I believe, who's lost oh no, it was Manley actually, in fact, who's up another place and up to 4th on the soft tyres. He's going to want to take the lead of this race as we've got 3 hard tyres ahead of him.
Massive split in the tyre compounds. Not just 1 gap in the differential, a 2-step gap in compounds, and it means Manley is going on the attack. Manley managing to get to the outside line, and that is as easy as you like. Full tanks of fuel. At this stage, heavy cars, but sticky, soft rubber for Tom Manley, who's up 5 places. They've gone for the bold strategy on the soft tyres. And it's only the Racing Bulls that have done so. Everyone else is on the medium and the hard, and Manley is absolutely tearing through the pack. He'll have the advantage early on. Will there be anything that the top 2 can do to try and hold his advantage? You wouldn't expect so. Over the curve, getting shuffled backwards. Thomas Ronhaar having a horrible couple of corners. He's down to 6th.
This is the problem you have on the hard tyres. You become completely vulnerable to the drivers around you on the mediums and the softs. Ronhaar down to 6th. It's all about minimising the time lost if you're on the hard tyres at the moment. Fassi and Blakely is doing a fantastic job, still leading this race on the slowest compound but most durable compound of tyre. What can Manley do now from 3rd at the moment? He's done a brilliant opening few laps, or literally 1 and a bit, up to 3rd for Manley, but he's going to want more.
Fassi's on the hard tyre. Blakely in the Papaya McLaren on the hard tyre. Man on the charge. Absolutely scything his way through the field at the moment. Tom Manley on the soft. Barry Burman for Ferrari on the medium tyre. And Josh Edu ahead of Thomas Ronhaar, both of them on the hard. That was a huge moment of consequence at turn number 1, even at this early stage. Fassi and Blakely trying to show different stories. Blakely trying to get his season up and running, a world champion of yesteryear. Fassi trying to extend his championship lead and win another one, having taken the opening contest of the season. Manley going hyper-aggressive when it comes to the overall performance, and he finds himself now trying to get by, trying to climb further up the order. This is Josh Edu, and he is trying to get past the medium rubber of the Ferrari ahead and going the long way round the outside, trying to claim that place back. Hard versus hard. Crucial move here. Apex first and move complete. That's a tidy way to take back 5th place.
That's a great move from Ronhaar. Of course, as you say, fighting Edu on the same strategy, and Ronhaar just saw the opportunity. Saw that Edu was going to just sit behind into turn 1, saw it go round the outside was the idea from Ronhaar. Later on the brakes, and Ronhaar up to P5. He's got Brumand and Manley ahead of him, of course, on the softs and mediums. No real move from Manley after that initial bite from him up to P3, and Fassi and Blakely still commanding this race at the moment and setting the pace.
And on hard tyres, which is so important. Let's go back to the start of the race. Live pictures on your right-hand side.
Here we go then. Start of the race. It was a really good launch from the front row of the grid. Very defensive for Fassi. No surprise there. He wants to continue leading this race. He knows as well, as he sat on the grid, he's probably fed the information of the variety of tyres that are up and down the field at the beginning of this one. Knows how important it is to continue leading this race, and that's exactly what he did. Quite a nice clean start. You can see Manley very aggressive there, as well as Azildarim in the mix as well. As we now take a look at Josh Edu. Lost that position to Ronhaar, but that was class.
Manley's got a chance. Manley's going to have a run here when we go past the bridge, and we're going to get an Omni change out front. Lucas Blakely takes the lead, and he brings Tom Manley with him. Fassi down to 3rd position. You're looking at the Racing Bull with his foot flat to the floor. Now chasing another position. There's only one car in front of him. This soft tyre working well, and the Williams down to 3rd.
Yeah, nice move from both Blakely and Manley, to be honest. Manley needs to get past these drivers. This is his opportunity. On these softs, the fastest compound of tyre, he needs to be out in front and utilising this as much as possible. Of course, getting track position is important for him as well. He'll be happy to be up in 2nd after where he started. But at the same time, Blakely and Fassi will be very happy that the fact that they're still at the front of this field. If you take a little bit further, look further down, Freddie Rasmussen's down to 15th after starting on the hard tyres. Otmir has lost a few as well, down to 13th. So the likes of Blakely and Fassi looking very strong indeed in these opening phase of the race.
One podium so far in his time in F1 sim racing for Tom Manley. This is his 8th start today. And he's gone super aggressive with the strategy. Talking of being aggressive, Barry Borman all over the back of Ismail Fassi out there looking to try and claim 3rd position. Remember, there's another tyre offset there. Barry Borman is on the medium tyre as Blakely finds himself cutting to the inside. They're not trying to break the toe. This is just the least bumpy part of the circuit. They're trying not to go over the bumps to cause any damage to the floor. Remember, you want to run these cars as low to the floor as possible in this ground effect era as we snake our way. Bit of bumping, bit of barging on the way through there. And Pookie and Ozildarim getting side by side, getting elbows out and risking front wings as they did so.
Yeah, oh, there's a move, a late move there. Down the inside from Pookie, trying to get past Azildarim. They're going to be side by side into this section, which is absolutely single file. Who's going to come out on top? It is Pookie. A great move there on the medium tyres, fighting Azildarim on the softs. So both of these, of course, running slightly quicker than the hard tyre runners ahead, and they're just jostling for position at the moment. So crucial for Pookie as he's on those mediums. There's going to be a crossover where the softs don't become as quick as they do, and lap 5 at the moment, and Pookie up to P7.
Good battle going on between Jarno Otmir and Otis Lawrence, the champion and the rookie, wheel to wheel, 13th and 14th at the moment. We're on board with Otis Lawrence. They've been swapping positions around for the last couple of laps. You're looking at the 16-year-old in your picture at the moment. He is immediately in the thick of things, coming off the back of a qualifying performance which didn't go the same way in round 3 as it did in rounds 1 and 2, but looking to work his way back to the points. That will be his aim today. There's half a second for the lead of the race. Lap 5 of 29. Blakely, then Manley, then Fassi, then Bromand, then Ronhaar. And there's the move going by. Freddie Rasmussen able to roar on by, and out front Thomas Gao has got up to 8th position as well. At least he had. Ozildarim battling with that one. That's inside the points as the Red Bull of Otmir, and now Rasmussen goes ahead of Otis Lawrence.
Here we've got a replay to do with Tom Manley, so let's take a look at that.
So we could think about soft medium, whatever, so
I would recommend it, to be honest.
Because my race is done now anyway.
Tom, your race is not over, actually.
It is. Bro, it really is.
Tom.
It is. I need to tire save.
It's shit, but yeah, you need to tire save. Just focus on that.
Well, it was based on getting a launch, getting a lead, building a lead, and disappearing down the road. The panic is that he's not been able to do that. Stuck in P2 right now, stuck behind a hard tyre runner, and a hard tyre runner who does not need to come in for a long time.
Bit of colourful language as well, apologies for that. Weird to think that Manley reckons his race is over in second position, but of course that's where we were kind of alluding with the soft tyres being so quick at the start of this one. So Manley in second at the moment has got a lot against him by the sounds of it with that team comms, but it's not over, and this is where he just has to keep his head. Like Manley does. He's in second. Yeah, the strategy may not be to his liking at the moment, but points are still up for grabs. He's running in second. Do something creative and make the most of this opportunity.
We're on lap 7 of 29. Lucas Blakely leads Tom Manley. Different strategies going on. Nicolas Longuet up against Danny Beresne. Nicolas Longuet fighting through in the Ferrari and finding 9th position. Nicolas Longuet on the medium tyre. Danny Beresne in the silver Mercedes this year, finding himself on the hard tyre. The race will come back to him later on, but a real spread. Great to see all 3 compounds being used at the start of this one, even though Manley thinks that might not have been the way to go. You can see the window does not open until lap 10 for a viable pit stop for the soft runners.
So a few laps away from Manley and, of course, Azildarim as well, who both started on the soft tyres. I mean, goodness me, if Manley thinks his race is done in second, I can only imagine what Azildarim might be thinking in 11th, running on the same tyre. So, of course, Manley will come in earlier, and then we'll go on a push on the hard tyres, I would imagine, as we have a fight further back between Butcher and Azildarim. Azildarim now falling away on those soft tyres, and the hards are really coming into their own now. Butcher up to 11th, and I've been so impressed with Butcher's comeback drives that we've seen so far this year. He was, of course, running a penalty in Australia, but was right in the mix of things. Can we see that again from Alfie Butcher, currently running in 11th on the hard tyres, so which is the 6th highest hard runner in the race so far. Nicolas Longuet sets the fastest lap of the race in 9th at the moment. So this one you're going to have to stay tuned for, because it's going to unfold as we see Ronhaar and Brumant fighting into the first couple of corners.
It's important between the two of them. Are the tyres beginning to fade away? Thomas Ronhaar getting shuffled back earlier on, then getting Josh Edo back, and now Barry Brumant trying to find a way past, looking to the left, looking to the right, trying to get past the kick out there. And Ferrari, the reigning Constructors' champions, looking for a move. Not the only one out there. Otis Lawrence up against Azildarim, and that is going to be to the inside. Don't see many moves here, but I think there will be one. Into turn number 10. Hard tyre versus soft tyre. Soft tyre fading away. Shows you the job that Manley's doing to maintain second place at the moment. Azildarim brilliantly encouraging one-lap pace, a maiden pole position today, but in race trim, not working out as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's got lightning qualifying pace, as we've seen, but he's just been struggling. And when you compare Manley to Azildarim, it's quite clear that Manley's got a much better handle of these soft tyres compared to Ulash. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of debriefs going on after this event and after this race in particular. But Manley doing a fantastic job. And he'll still have to go a couple more laps before he dives into the pits at the moment. But I'd imagine he's thinking about the race being over purely for the fight for the win, as he's now coming under pressure, and we have a fight down towards turn 1.
5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Azildarim as he came in to get rid of those soft tyres. Blakely leads Manley, and then Fassi's back in the mix to lead this one. He was in a position he was in, and Manley, I thought he was going to hit the front there, but once again, Lucas Blakely around this circuit just has the time of his life. He's looking for his 3rd win around the circuit today in the championship.
Manley trying to cleverly place his car to stay in second, I think, at this point, because if he takes the lead, he's then going to get swamped by probably 2 cars around the final corner into turn 1, and that's where he probably believes that he's then going to start falling down the order. But in second place, he can utilise the DRS well, and that's exactly what he's doing at the moment. Of course, Azildarim in the pits for a very early stop, and this will jump him up the order for sure with this undercut that he's now currently performing. Of course, he has that penalty, so he's pretty much done and dusted for point scoring, but he can help his teammate if he can actually get in the mix. He's out on the soft tyres as well, according to this graphic. So I wonder what's going on here in terms of a strategy. 2 stops is absolutely not what we should be seeing out there. No. So I wonder if this is a roll of the dice to try and get Ulash right in the mix of things. Points are out the window. Try and help your teammate where you can.
It's an unusual one.
Or it's an error.
It could be 1 from 2. Brendan Lee has the fastest lap of the race, and you're looking at his teammate, Thomas Ronhaar, in 4th position. Ronhaar's really regrouped in the last couple of laps. Top 4 are absolutely glued together now. 3 of the top 4 on the hard tyres. Again, Blakely just confident to allow them to close up faster, faster, faster. Still, and then he sweeps into turn number 4. But Ronhaar in the mix, Fassi in the mix, Blakely back in contention for a win. And we find ourselves on lap 10 of 29. And Manley just trying to take these soft tyres as far as he can go. He was hoping to build a bit of a gap out front. That's not worked out. This is Blakely Town and has been for a while in terms of him always being in the mix. Things change year on year, but he always seems to go well around here. We now get to ride on board with our runner-up from last year, Thomas Ronhaar.
He tried to move around the outside of Fassi on the last lap. And will he try it again? Love riding on board with these drivers and also seeing the intensity down in the bottom right of your screens. But of course, I was mentioning the penalty for Zildjian, doesn't matter. The penalty for Pookie does, in 7th place. Pookie's picked up another penalty. Of course, he did have one rescinded earlier today, but this one will stand for now. Of course, there is the opportunity to appeal, and of course, if it's deemed unfair that he was given this in-game penalty, it can be removed anyway by the stewards. But right now, Pookie has a penalty, and that usually means no points.
Yeah, because of the high level of competitive nature out there. And
Look how close.
Dodgem stuff through the corners. Alfie Butcher giving a nudge to Jarno Opmeer as they make their way through, and the Red Bull driver continues in 11th position. Would have been expecting a little bit better than this, but of course we are going to get different drivers on softer compounds having to come in earlier. Tom Manley gained 5 positions from where he started this one. He's on the soft tyre, and on lap 11 and 29, he's putting a good stint together, staying within DRS. This DRS train that we see out front, half a second, the advantage for Lucas Blakely in the McLaren as he tries to get back onto the top step here for the 3rd time. Would be his 7th all-time win in the championship if he's able to achieve that today. Long way to go though. We've seen races this year start nice and slowly, a little bit of a simmer, and then boil over in the final stages. So we're looking forward to see what comes our way once someone out there brings us the first stop.
Well, that one will be Manley.
Competitive. I know we've had one.
Well, that one will be Manley for sure. But when does he decide to dive into the pits? Is it this lap? No. So he's trying to bring himself back into contention with that ultra-aggressive soft tyre start. He needs to go as long as he possibly can. And until he starts to get passed by the train behind him, he should just stay out there. Stay out there for as long as he possibly can without the soft tyres obviously hitting the cliff, and then he loses seconds a lap. But right now, Manley's doing a fantastic job. He's already gone past the projected lap 10 stop that we saw on the graphic at the beginning of this race. And we now have a move here from Pookie on Edo on the medium tyres. So Pookie's still making those mediums work. Of course, holding that penalty at the moment still.
Yeah, disappointment for him. Scored points in both of his races, his first races in the championship so far this year. An 8th place and a podium finish in the opening race of the season. So it's been a good start to life in the championship. Started today, started this round rather, in 5th position. 2nd on debut and 8th in our race earlier on today around Shanghai International. This is Bahrain International Circuit in Sakir. It's the 3rd round of the championship. And it's Istvan Pookie who we've been focusing on. We're looking further down the order now to the Haas driver of Tamas Gill. And he finds himself out there once again. Haas going for a slightly softer compound, medium tyre for him. We continue to extend the stint. An opportunity for Blakely on the lap that Manley's tyres disappear from him to really gun it. We haven't seen anyone really break out of DRS range at the front all season long so far. Manley continuing to stay within that range, and Thomas Gal on the march, getting past Josh Edo, who is on that hard tyre, and the step softer compound of the mediums working for Gal, who is through to 7th position.
Yeah, very interesting to see Edo falling away slightly at this stage of the stints, that 13 of 29. But yeah, I was just looking up and down the field just to see exactly what was going on, and Zilderim's out there setting the fastest laps of anybody in what is last place. And I am fascinated to see where he will actually be in this train of cars once everyone comes into the pits. Of course, Zilderim has to pit again, but more just to help Manley. Like, what do they have cooking over at Racing Bulls? I'll be interested to watch this space as we now focus back to Tom Manley at the front, doing, again, a phenomenal job to sit there in P2 at the moment, especially when you see the likes of Edo on the hard tyres falling away versus the mediums.
Not entirely what we expected, but I feel that we've said that a lot in commentary as we make our way through. Tom Manley for Racing Bulls on a soft tyre that should be expiring. Just managing to stay within DRS. Is Blakely flat to the floor here? Is he running to a delta, to a prescribed lap time, and worry about the particulars towards the end of the race? We go tight to the pit wall once again. This distinct line in the Sim Racing Championship on that 14 of 29. Blakely fought his way past Fassi and took Manley with him. A few laps ago now. Ronhaar and Broman 4th and 5th. Pookie with the penalty, 6th position, and then Gal, Edo, Longay and Berezne completing the top 10. Still no way through for Jarno Opmeer, but he is battling out there. Alfie Butcher, I believe, has just got past him, and there is the evidence to show you the McLaren man able to get past the Red Bull. Butcher past Opmeer.
Both on the same strategy as well, Butcher and Opmeer, so that may well be some high points paying positions come the end of the race, and important for Butcher to make his way through. You don't tend to see that all too much. The same use of tyres in this kind of train at this part of the race usually is line astern, so very interesting to see that. Also on McLaren going very wide indeed. You mentioned Pookie again, still in 6th. He's up 9. He's going to be kicking himself that he's managed to pick up this penalty after starting on the medium tyres, which isn't the most ultra-aggressive strategy compared to the softs we've seen with Manley. He's up 9 places. Pookie's done an unbelievable job to put him very much in the mix. He'll be hoping there's an argument for the penalty that he's picked up. But I just wanted to point that out because that's a brilliant job around a track that we're quite clearly seeing is difficult to overtake this year.
Yeah, it really is. It was a warning for corner cutting, 3rd warning for that, and then a 3-second penalty, which is the reason why he has the black and white flag next to him. And into the pits we finally come then with Tom Manley, and pit crew go to work, back into the race. He did really well to get it to lap 15. He was despondent early on that he wasn't in the right position, extended the stint, and now the 2 Racing Bulls are 19th and 20th as they will get the advantage of the fresher rubber, but way off the back of the pack. And does this race reboot at this stage, having lost the soft tyre runner?
Well, let's see what kind of pace Manley has. Team comms, he said it's over, it's done. Race is finished, and he seemed quite dejected. Let's see if he regrets that team comms and actually there was still something to play for. I think there is, for sure. Yeah, he's going to be on older hard tyres, but at the same time, he's in a great opportunity to have track position and to try and dictate this from here on in. This is the undercut for Manley. How much longer can the likes of Blakely, Fassi, Ronhaar go before they have to come into the pits? And then what about Brumand, Pookie and Gal, who are on the medium tyres behind? This is fascinating to watch. And as much as we haven't had a huge amount of overtakes, that's going to change. I know that the last few races have said, you know what, we're going to have overtakes every single lap for most of the race. This one's a bit more of a slow burner, but we've got different strategies that will all collide come the end of this one.
They certainly will. You're looking at Lucas Blakely back in the lead of a race, hoping to take his first win of the season today. Ismail Fassi has done that in the opening round of the year. It was his first in the championship. It was Williams' first in the championship. Thomas Ronhaar now in the podium positions. We go on board with Otis Lawrence. He's going wheel to wheel with Alfie Butcher. And Butcher, who was ahead of the two Red Bulls, finds himself shuffled backwards now. Otmar has taken Rasmussen through as well, and Butcher recovering to get past Otis Lawrence, but something's gone on there because they weren't in that order the last time we checked in with them.
Yeah, very interesting to see the Red Bulls have clearly worked together there, and that's an ominous pairing to see in your rearview mirror, isn't it? To see
really
both
is.
Otmar and Rasmussen in the same team coming after you, and Alfie Butcher sadly has lost both of those positions. Otis Lawrence hasn't made a huge amount of progress since the start of this one, up only one so far, and of course we know the pace that he's got in that cockpit. So let's see what Lawrence and those phenomenal drivers in that pack can do in the next 13 laps. But the focus is very much towards the front. It's going to be a very difficult one for Otmar and Rasmussen, despite being on the hard tyres. What do they do? Otmar loves to go long. Is he going to go long in this one and go on the attack? It just doesn't seem like it's as good as it would be with the previous ones. And perhaps track position will be what they want to focus on and prioritise.
So looking out there at this stage, and we're waiting to see stops from so many, and then we're going to get a few now. Into the pits comes Bromond, and it's a big moment. Oh, and out front here's a change of lead, and there is one. Fassi gets by, and can Blakely keep Ronhaar behind? Change of lead out front, the Williams back at the front as we go and cycle through the stops. With Gal, with Lee, with Bromond, all in the pits. Pookie as well. Side by side, Ronhaar and Blakely. This one's important, and Blakely stays ahead, coming out of turn number 4.
So Gal's just got a penalty as well for coming into the pits, as you can see. A few drivers actually have got penalties coming into the pits, so I wonder if there's been something going on there, and we'll have to wait and see as to whether there's been something unforeseen
as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine 4 of them have sped in the pit lane. So watch this space when it comes to those. But if that is the case, then they've all sped into the pit lane and they've all followed each other in. So yeah, very important that would affect Gal's race in particular. And Pookie, of course, is already holding that penalty. So 3 pit lane speedings going on there. Rasmussen clears a Zilderim. But Fassi important, you know, taking the lead away from Blakely here and really starting to make a statement in this fight for the win.
So Fassi looking for his 2nd win in the championship and looking to extend his unexpected, and that's him saying it, championship lead. It's currently 1 point thanks to pole position earlier on. And are we coming in? We are. Together, pit stop race, scrub off the speed, look to avoid that penalty, and Fassi is in, as well as Lucas Blakely, as well as Thomas Ronhaar as well. Out front, Danny Beresnay takes over the on-track lead. Jarno Otmar goes with him. Otis Lawrence is 3rd. Then it's Krozen and Joni Tormela and Pedrino and Fassi, who still has the advantage over Blakely. Manley's going past all of them on track at the moment, and Manley is able to get by for the time being. He's used his tyres a little bit more, but he's got the track position, having gone to that rubber earlier on. And that's a big moment, and also making a big leap up the order. Barry Bromond as well has an advantage.
Pookie to head as well, as Fassi has just cleared Gal. So this is going to be a very important phase of the race. How quickly can Fassi get through, as well as Blakely, on these drivers that have pit a little bit earlier? Blakely shapes to the inside there of the Haas driver. It's going to be close, bit of contact there as well. And Blakely's going to have to be very, very careful with that one. Very easy to get a bit of damage on your front wing. It goes to the double left-hander. He said that's a corner that he absolutely loves to trail brake into, and Blakely manages to get through on Gal.
Able to take the move. Danny Beresnay and Jarno Otmar. It's Lawrence, Krozen, Tormela, Pedrino, Manley with the early stop from the soft tyres, and finding himself with another opportunity to race on, but on the hards. And then Barry Bromond's out there, and he's gone, according to our graphic, on the softs. So that's a roll of the dice and a half, if that's the case. And then we continue on. Stops being completed out front. Krozen, Beresnay, Otmar, Lawrence as well. Manley cycles back to the front of the field. This one's going to be the overtaking fest that you expected. Barry Broman gets there, and Pookie's going through as well. Those hard tyres do not work when everyone else is on the soft. And Manley held the lead for all of a couple of metres. The Ferrari's at the front of the field. Barry Bowman behind the wheel. And now Lucas Blakely in 5th place, trying to put the pressure on Fassi. Fassi getting up to 3rd, past Manley. And Blakely will try and do the same again. Then everyone at the front is going to have an all-out brawl for the win.
So this is what we're seeing. This is why Manley was so dejected after that first stint, because he knew he'd have to go onto the hard tyres and everybody else would be on the softs, and they're just so much quicker than him right now.
Fassi trying to go around the outside. Fassi going all the way around the outside. Super move when it mattered to get that done. And Broman goes by. Fassi makes the pass. And that is a big moment. He's put a car in between him and Lucas Blakely. Those were the two debating the lead before the pit stops.
This is brilliant to watch. Brumand out in front, Fassi just closing in behind Pookie, trying to defend as well. Of course, he pitted on the same lap as Brumand. And then you've got Thomas Ronhaar in P5 at the moment. Same strategy as Lucas Blakely in terms of tyre life. And he'll want to get involved with this one as well. I'd say he's had a reasonably quiet race as Ronhaar compared to some of them around him. But he's still there, he's still in with a shot of the victory.
The tyres are fresher for Fassi, but not by much, and that was a brave one to take the move. We're on board with Thomas Ronhaar, who is chasing down Lucas Blakely out front. Fassi still continuing on, still under pressure. This continues on. Corner after corner, lap after lap. Pookie trying to come back. Pookie wants that place back. No one wants to be passed around the outside at turn number 10. Is there a dive bomb move? Is there a way back to 2nd place? There is on the apex. How about the apex? And now here we go. 3 wide. Will we get through? We're banging wheels at huge speed. Pookie gets through once again, and he's up to 2nd. Fassi is in 3rd. Is the door open for Ronhaar to get past Blakely? Under traction, coming out of 8. I think Ronhaar is going to move ahead of Lucas Blakely.
Enter Ronhaar. He saw the opportunity and got past Blakely. 3 wide into that corner. Are you kidding me, Alex? And look, did you see how late Pookie braked? He said, I'm coming through here, good luck everybody else. That's what he said. And he got away with it. P2 for Pookie. Of course, he still has that penalty. Will he continue to have it? Depends if he was pushed wide, whatever that might be able to appeal it. But right now, Pookie's doing everything he can to hold on.
Yeah, if he's been pushed wide and gone beyond track limits, there might be an opportunity to appeal it. But if he's made that mistake on his own on 3 separate occasions, he's going to be in trouble. Penalty will stand. Either way, he's a major player in this race. That got really, really aggressive, making our way out of turn 4 and into the sequence where they change direction at huge speed. Out front, having gone from medium tyre to soft, Barry Bromand out front, but for how much longer? Late on the brakes and going past. He's not the only one. Fassi goes through. Pookie follows him by, and the Ferrari goes from 1st to 3rd.
Fassi double move to take the lead of this one. It's not over either as we head down 3 wide again.
Interested in another dive bomb? We've got nothing but dive bombs. The Ferrari's back in front, but for how much longer? This race has come alive. Electric stuff out there. Bromand's out there. Then it's Pookie. Then it's Ronhaar into 3rd position for the time being. Pookie driving like he hasn't got the penalty. He is driving like he's got nothing to lose. Rubbert is racing, and we're seeing it all the way to turn number 10. We're on board with Fassi, who did lead this race once upon a time. He's now in 4th.
This is absolute carnage. We thought it was going to be a slow burner. It has been, and we've got the chaos we were wanting. Fassi now down to 4th after leading this one only a lap ago, and Ronhaar getting involved. Pookie not afraid to make a move. Barry Bromand, who needs this result more than anything to kickstart his championship in 2025. You've got Blakely watching on now in P5. It changes every lap, and guess what? We've got it coming again.
All right, everyone, let's take a deep, relaxing breath.
For 3 seconds.
And then we're going to go again. On to the main straight at Bahrain International. Move for Jarno Opmeer. Going long once again. He's into the points. That's the minimum he expects every single time he goes racing. One of 2 winners that we've had so far this year. Bromand in the Ferrari. Moving on. Does he maintain the lead? This is a circuit where you can dive bomb move for fun. And that's getting very, very aggressive. Dodgem stuff out there. And we are looking at Jarno Opmeer being shuffled backwards. And the Dutch racer down to 12th position.
Yep, and he may well lose another one there to Danny Beresnay on the inside. That's going to get very close indeed between the two ex-teammates. Who's come out on top that time? It looks like it might well be Otmir, but Beresnay has the inside. They're still side by side, fighting away for P12 like it's for the victory. But Beresnay will have the inside once again. They continue to dance around this track.
They're racing like it's an oval, but there's several incredibly difficult turns out there, side by side, glued to each other once more. It's Broman, then Pookie, but Pookie has the penalty hanging over him at this stage for 3 seconds. Ronhaar is in third, Fassi is in fourth, and it's Lucas Blakely in P5. Tom Manley, who would have been thinking that he was just going to disappear because they're all fighting like it's the last lap of the season out there. He's still 0.3 of a second away, and there is Rasmussen with the penalty that he got for coming into the pit lane and speeding, we believe, in 7th. Then Butcher, Lawrence and Ido complete the top 10. Breathless stuff out there. Lap 22 of 29. Ferrari on for a first win of the campaign. Broman fighting like a lion out there. Pookie with the penalty that he wouldn't try and argue. He's up 14 places.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
And
Pookie entering the scene.
And the dive bomb moves were absolutely superb. Ronhaar's been in contention for victory at all of the races so far this year. He will want one from this event. He's been in the mix all the time, but he's got two drivers having a superb time there. This is Broman's best performance of the season so far. This is Pookie on the front foot again, just like he was in Melbourne.
Do you know how it got very chaotic there? A lot of drivers bumping, and it was getting very close indeed. I've just heard in my ear that Lucas Blakely, who is now fighting, no, that's Alfie Butcher, sorry, fighting Otis Lawrence. Lucas Blakely, there's fans out there of Lucas, he's running front wing damage now after that.
Wow.
So Blakely is trying to cling on now to P5, if anything. So the driver that started on the front row of the grid had aspirations of winning. Now, as you can see, falling away slightly from this front four. And this is so crucial for his race. Even the most tiny amounts of damage on the front wing is curtains for your race in terms of moving forward.
So it takes the 5-car battle to a 4-car battle in reality. Pookie's penalty hanging over him for the time being. He's going to try and win it on track and argue afterwards. That's going to be his tactic. That's going to be Mercedes' tactic. But real frustration.
I mean, a lot of noises around the studio.
There's a lot of shouting going on.
I think Jarno Otmir just did a massive groan, as well as Danny Beresnay pleading, saying, please, guys, please. So it's getting very aggressive out there. Is it going to continue into turn one?
Late on the brakes goes Pookie. Inside line for the defence goes the Ferrari. Pookie goes a long way round and takes the lead. He's climbed past all of them, up 15 places with a drive and a half. Forget the penalty for now. He got there. He got to the lead for all of a couple of moments. Trying to sweep around the outside. Will there be room? Risking contact is Ronhaar. Trying to fight his way to second place. He's still in third, but look how close he is to the lead.
Can you believe you're watching this for free? Honestly, the amount of action is unbelievable here around Bahrain. Broman now takes the lead ahead of Pookie and Ronhaar. If they're fighting like this, what are they going to be like in 5 laps' time on the final lap of this race for the actual victory? They're constantly jostling for positions out there, and it's an absolute miracle that only Blakely is running any kind of minor wing damage.
Yeah, really, really aggressive into turn one, all the way up the hill to turn number 4. Ronhaar has the tyre offset. 1 lap fresher tyres for the driver who we're on board with in the kick in that bright liveried car.
Manley in the background
is getting involved as well, and Manley with a front wing with all of its pieces looks like he's going to get ahead of Lucas Blakely, who would have been expecting to contend for the win, but the bumping and the barging and the moment surely that we went 3 wide causing damage. Manley back up to 5th, Blakely falling down to 6th, and it could be about to get worse because Freddie Rasmussen, again with a penalty hanging over him, gets by for 6th position.
Yeah, this is damage limitation for Blakely. If he can score a point come the end of this one, he'll be happy as they continue to fight. And Pookie is right there in second place. We changed to him, and he's coming under pressure from Thomas Ronhaar, and Fassi very close as well. Is that going to be Pookie round the outside for the lead?
Look at this move. Can he pull it off? Will Broman be able to hang on? The answer's no. Up 15 places to take P1. Pookie has done it. He's got the position again, but this time it's further through the lap, and he is going to try and extend his advantage. Lap after lap after lap, he's wanted that move. This time he's made it stick.
Running aboard with Lawrence now, up to 7th. This driver, of course, showed so much pace already. The 16-year-old, the rookie here, up to 7th and looking to try and fight Freddie Rasmussen for P6, who, of course, is also holding a penalty at the moment. Blakely, sadly, heart-wrenchingly down to P10 after starting on the front row. It is going to be 0 points by the looks of things by the end of this one for Lucas, and I can only imagine how inconsolable he'll be after this race.
Yeah, brutal one for him. Let's check in with one of the drivers in the field.
Jan is back up above 50, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, man. Oh
this
my
is
God.
all you can do, but they're quite low now. You need to be careful. Thomas is on like 70 euros.
Managing ERS numbers, being told what Ronhaar's got, 70% ERS is what he's been told. And once again, we go into turn 1. It's almost 3 wide again. No, it's Brumman to the inside. Is he going to take the lead? Is Ronhaar going to take advantage? No, Pookie stays ahead.
As we climb the hill once again, Pookie in the Mercedes has the lead. The top 3 are almost glued together. Are we interested in another 3-wide moment? We nearly got it. Ronhaar knows that he's got the advantage there. He's got the energy. He's got the 1 lap fresher tyres. He's also got Fassi looking to get down the inside. Oh, they nearly blew his race apart. He nearly threw it away there, trying to get past both of them. He's lucky not to lose a position. And can you believe this? Tom Manley's going forward on the hard tyre. Everyone else has got the soft on, and Manley's picking up places. They're tripping over each other, and this extraordinary race has come alive once again. Fassi takes the place back. They're sprayed all over the road, and we welcome to the party Otis Lawrence, who's battling Freddie Rasmussen. This is wild stuff.
Absolutely ridiculous. Lawrence to the outside now of Freddie Rasmussen. That'll be a move for his show reel.
One! Outside to inside. Move complete. Otis Lawrence having another day. It's been great 1 lap pace for him so far in F1 sim racing. Now, under the lights of Sakir International, he is having so much fun out there, continuing to battle with the world champion, Freddie Rasmussen, the man who started in 14th place, in 7th at the moment, but this has been really, once again, super aggressive. We're on lap 27 and 29. The Ferrari was in the lead. Pookie is taking it back under braking, but that move's going on as we focus on Lawrence getting his elbows out, fighting it all the time with Freddie Rasmussen. And this is really tight stuff. He's up to P6 at the moment. The Ferrari's back in the lead. Pookie's going to try and hang it out around the outside. Ronhaar's trying to go past both of them. No way through at the moment. The Scarlet Ferrari's still ahead. Brumman's done brilliantly here. Oh, that could have easily been contact. That well might be, and they're risking everything. Ronhaar momentarily ahead for 2nd place. You are on board with Otis Lawrence, who is side by side with Freddie Rasmussen. They battle ferociously for the lead of this one. Barry Brumman ahead, then it's Pookie in 2nd with the penalty hanging over him. Ronhaar nearly blew it all apart. Fassi tried to get to the inside of turn 6 and nearly ruined it. That's a late send, past 1! Oh, it's cost him! It's cost him! And through goes Fassi! That will give him a chance of victory. And you know what? Manley might just win this race because they can't stop throwing punches.
The more punches they throw, the worse those soft tyres are going to be. Manley up to 4th. He's like, keep going, guys. Keep going. I'll take this one on lap 29.
You keep motoring into each other, and I'll just pick you off every single time one of your group gets sent wide. An extraordinary race. In the background, you see the Mercedes off the road of Danny Beresnay. He rejoins. Josh Edu is now up to 5th position. This is anyone's. Pookie has the penalty, but he's going to argue it afterwards. Pookie's ahead of Brumman once again. Fassi trying to do what he did last time. Start from pole, get us all worked up, and then take the win anyway.
Penultimate lap of the race. And I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this one. It could be any of 4 drivers. Josh Edu is now up to P5 again. Like we haven't seen him for most of this one after the start of the race. He's now back up to P5. Ronhaar has dropped to 6th. He's going to be counting his lucky stars that wasn't a bigger impact, because he missed his braking point and he had to slam on the brakes to stop a significant impact. He's 6th at the moment. Can he regain any more places? He's a championship contender. He's going to try and have to pick up every single point he can.
Josh Edu currently finding himself in 5th place. Tell you what, any top 5 today, they'll just be absolutely delighted. We're on the penultimate lap. Pookie in position for his first on-track victory, but he has a 3-second penalty hanging over him. That came earlier on. Bromand in second, Fassi in third. So normally, tactically, you want to be in second position here. Of course, second position is already effectively the win. So the tactics all over the place as we go on to the 29th and final lap of the race.
Alex, did you want another 3 wide? I think we might see one on this final lap. Take a look at this then. Brumand to the outside.
Are you ready for a late send? Because it's going to be nothing but dive bomb moves. Brumand hangs on to it. He's managed to get the lead. Fassi's going by as well. Can he get there for the Williams? Here's the moment. No, he can't get there. Pookie's hung on to second place. Barry Brumand was disconsolate a couple of laps ago. He didn't know what he was going to do to keep Ronhaar behind. Ronhaar's in 6th, trying to get by, trying to turn 3 wide moments into the race-leading move was always going to cause drama. It's shuffled Ronhaar back, and Brumand's in a brilliant position now, unless Pookie can launch something absolutely extraordinary, unless Fassi can get past the pair of them, and Tom Manley, for all of his dejection earlier on, is on for a P4.
Brumand's done the hard work now. I can't see him losing it from here. Let's see. He's got a half a second gap to Pookie. So Brumand looks like he's going to finally kickstart his 2025 F1 Sim Racing campaign with a victory here in Bahrain, and he will be emotional, Alex.
I hope so, because he'll deserve it. It could have been anyone's race inside the top 6. You have to say, all the way through, it has been an incredible story out there. But this is the final corner of the last lap, and Barry Brumand is coming out of the final corner first. Hyped up, seeing the checkered flag before anyone else. Barry Brumand crosses the line to take the win. He is first place in Bahrain. He's hyped up and shouting for joy because he's beaten them all to the flag after an almighty scrap across 29 laps. Fassi in second. Manley completes the podium against all odds after the penalty is applied to Pookie. Matt Gallagher, how about that?
Alex Jakes, I have no words. Just as we thought we might get a slightly more chilled out race. We
Remember
thought
the
halfway
first half?
through,
Remember
yeah,
that?
we
That
thought
was great.
maybe it's going to be an easier one for us to commentate. Enter the second half, and Barry Brumand, the victor. Fassi, how many 3 wides do we see with him involved? It's absolutely ridiculous. 3 wides in places that I've never seen, very rarely 2 go.
Yeah.
3 in the middle sector is just ridiculous. It's been an absolute treat today, and this 2025 season is delivering every single event, every single race, every session.
Well, that was just delirious F1 sim racing. Normally it's all on the last lap. Feels like no one wanted to wait until the last lap. Felt that it was all on the line so early on. We got to the lap 20 count. Then things got really, really aggressive fast. We had that contact. It was all put on the line there. There's going to be plenty to analyse. There's going to be plenty for the stewards to look at as well. But Ferrari are back on top. Barry is the man. He's our winner.
I can't wait to see Marcel Kiefer's touchpad as well, because I feel like he might have a few instances to take a look at. Tom, I think me and Alex need a lie down, mate.
You have a lie down. You definitely deserve it. And I'm sure everyone watching salutes you for your hard work and taking us through it. The emotions left, right and centre. His last win, Barry Brumand, came last season in Qatar, a pole to victory. 3 wins in total, also at Spa and in Las Vegas. And in terms of this season, his results so far have been, and just to clarify, yesterday in Australia, 16th on the grid he finished. And then earlier on today, it feels like yesterday, because it's all rolling into one. But in China earlier on, he had to retire. But he has gone to victory right now. And that is Barry Brumand of Ferrari. And boy, oh boy, did they need a points injection like the one that they have just got. In terms of other results, we will wait and see, as Alex and Matt have pointed out several times about Istvan Pookie. What a campaign he's having so far. A 2nd place finish in Australia and then an 8th place in China earlier on today. And then that points penalty deduction will happen depending on the stewards and what they think about going wide. However, he was very, very close to the win. It really was spectacular. The undercut, and there is your classification there provisionally. Ismail Fassi finishing in second. What a campaign he's having. And Tom Manley, the driver that said at the beginning, the race is gone. Absolutely gone. Get it in the bin. In a second place finish.
I tell you what, it's an amazing story considering he's fought his way back for the podium. I'd love it even more if that was a bit of kidology and he's like, nah, I knew I was going to be in the mix all the way to the end.
I think he owes a few drinks to a few drivers that were sending it into turn one, because I think the fact that those soft tyre runs were having to fight so hard just brought him back into play. Couple more laps, Manley was probably sitting there very pretty indeed.
Well, it was that lap, I think, lap 27, throwing punches, you said. Thomas Ronhaar almost going wild, and wild was the definition of that race. And it reminds me of China earlier when Ronhaar actually said to Claire, you know, maybe I was too eager to go for an overtake sometimes. Yeah. And it happened again.
Well, he was talking about the Melbourne round when he mentioned that afterwards, and he was reflecting on why he was more competitive yesterday in round 2. The thing for me that's interesting is the key moment that took Lucas Blakely out of contention was a 3-wide moment at a corner where it is win it or bin it. You're either going to get the position and have a double overtake and you're in a great position, or it's going to disappear. The stakes are way too high to risk it into a corner like that. Slower speed stuff like turn 1 and turn 2, that's where you get the moves all the time. But I tell you what, it's an intriguing one that they were so intense into high-speed corners today, because if that goes wrong, you're done. Yeah. You're out of the points.
And we can see what that means when it does go wrong, like Barry earlier on in the day. In China, had a damage and then tried to help his teammate Nicolas Longuet and eventually had to retire. And that is not what you want for a Constructors title. Matt, I know we're going to get an interview very shortly. I'm looking behind me. I can see in the distance Nicolas Longuet. He looks dejected. You mentioned about Lucas Blakely probably being inconsolable right now. Out of the drivers who will be elated and inconsolable, which ones do you put in the elated category?
Goodness gracious me. I mean, of
Barry
course, Barry is number one probably by a country mile, to be honest with you. I think Manley experienced every emotion in that race, to be honest with you.
Do you think he would have learned something from today?
For sure,
from talking to the engineers and saying, this is, get it in the bin, this one's done, to suddenly the engineers going, come on, just stay true to this, stay focused.
Experience, right? Like he'll have this race now, and the next time he's on a strategy he doesn't like, he'll realise and look back and go, oh yeah, but Bahrain, I came back through because everybody decided to go 3 wide.
Trust the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is.
And then obviously on the flip side, you've got to feel for Nicolas Longuet behind us, obviously still in the sim rig, still feeling very emotional, just purely because he sees his teammate win, and I'm sure he feels absolutely ecstatic that Barry's managed to get the victory, but he also probably feels like he's letting the team down slightly, and the fact that he probably wanted to deliver a 1-2. And of course, it's Barry's job to go over to him and go, mate, don't worry, we'll come back the next time. And these two are very good at that. Yeah, they've got a great relationship.
It's done now. Well, there's nothing more you can do about this race. We move on to the next one tomorrow, Jeddah. Ismail Fassi just walked behind you. He'll be chatting to Claire in just a moment. And joining us on the desk will be Barry. Another fantastic driver, just the same as Lucas Blakely. When you just ask them a question, they will just run with it. Barry it has that emotion, and he's going to be bringing that to the desk. I'm looking forward to that. In terms of drivers that are going to be most dejected right now, who stands out for you, Alex, from that race?
Got to be Lucas Blakely. He was in the mix for that victory there. Got the front wing damage, held on for a couple of laps, but that was never going to be able to last out there on the circuit. A circuit that's so abrasive for tyre wear. If you've not got the front grip that the front wing usually gives you, you're only heading in one direction, and there's no points when it could have been 25, and nothing stings more than that.
Okay, all right. He races for the Racing Bulls. This is Tom Manley. First time we've heard from him in the 2025 campaign. He's with Claire right now.
And what a time to be speaking to the man that told us about, 15 minutes ago that your race was over. Now a podium. You're going to have to talk us through that one, because it felt quite loaded on the radio. What was going on?
Yeah, I mean, I was like one of the only few on the soft hard, so I knew, I wouldn't have much DRS during the race, so I thought my race was over, as I said, but, I managed to, there was also chaos in front, so I managed to just, sit back and watch it unfold and hang on just about.
Yeah, you did hang on, and you managed to get a podium as well. Can you be pleased? You feel a little bit disheartened still. Is there something still that we're not sure about?
Well, a bit disappointed till now with the event, but I'm happy with the podium now. I think hopefully that can, bring some momentum, especially for tomorrow, and the event on high.
No, exactly. And I think that's the main thing. The strategy call to be on the hards whenever everyone else was on the softs. We heard that you were quite frustrated by that because you weren't sure which way it was going to go. When did you kind of realise that actually the race was coming to you?
I'd say about like lap 24-ish when everyone was battling in front. And I could see the tyre delta just slowly come in my favour, and I realised, we could actually hold on to this position. So, yeah, at that point, I would say I realised I could stay in P3.
Still got another race to go tomorrow. We're going to Jeddah, going into that final day of this first event with a podium under your belt. Is that what you wanted, or were you hoping for more?
I'd say I'm content with it. I would look for a bit more, but you take a podium at this stage, and for Jeddah I'm very confident, so hopefully it goes better than...
A track you enjoy? Sorry, I cut you off there. I was like, I'm done with that piece. A track you enjoy or not?
Yeah, definitely. One of my favourites.
I keep doing it. It's a fast and furious one, isn't it?
Yeah, with the walls and stuff, it's very tricky, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be very chaotic again, but...
Well, for now, it's a podium. Congratulations. I'll let you head off and celebrate with your team, and I'll speak to the man I've spoken to the most over the last few days, Ismail Fassi. Congratulations, another podium. Not the win this time, but still a podium. Important for championship points, even though it's early days. Are you pleased with that?
To be honest, I should be pleased. I'm leading the championship, but I wanted that win really a lot. I was, sending it everywhere. I guess you saw it. It was very chaotic, this race, as always. But yeah, I think Istvan's penalty will be removed, so that means I would go down to third. But yeah, it's still a decent result. I wanted more. I nearly paid the price for that. But yeah, I gotta be happy.
Talk to me about the moment where you mentioned there that you nearly paid the price, because it was on the limit a couple of times, wasn't it?
It was, I don't know how many times I lost the count. But yeah, it was with Thomas, with Danny, with Istvan. Istvan, not Danny. Many times. I just tried my best, and I guess I got away with it, but in third place instead of first.
Yeah, it's still a podium though. You feel a little bit disheartened by it. Is that because you've now put your standards so high after such a positive couple of days?
I guess so, yeah. I was starting on pole, which means you want to win. And yeah, I will take it, but I really wanted more.
Are you exhausted over the last couple of days? Because you've been battling it out there incredibly hard. And you look at the rigs, they are very physical. People might not think they are, but it is a very physical sport out there. You guys are sweating when you're coming off the rig. How are you feeling going into the final race tomorrow of the event?
I just want to sleep 10 hours, I guess. But everyone sweats a lot because you're very concentrated on what you're doing, and you gotta check in front of you, behind you, your ERS, gear shifting, everything. A lot of things you gotta check, and yeah.
Talk to me about Jeddah then. How are we feeling about that? It's another ferocious track that takes it out of you guys.
I think it will be the most chaotic race of all four. I'm really looking forward to start again up there. I really like Jeddah. That doesn't mean that I will qualify on pole again. I hope so though. But yeah, I will try my best as always and keep the championship.
Looking for another pole position, I see that. Congratulations, it's a podium either way. I'm pretty sure, as it stands, you're on second, could be third, let's see. Congratulations, well done. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Ismail and Tom Manley. I thought 8 hours was the optimum amount to get of sleep, but found out today, every day is a school day, it's 10 hours. However, he's joined us on the desk. Right, Brahman, congratulations on finishing in first place. Talk us through that. Where are the emotions at right now?
Yeah, first of all, hello to everyone who are watching and to you guys. It's been a long first few races for me, not gonna lie. It wasn't going really my way, especially in Australia. Had a good quali P4, and then we completely took a wrong strategy, and with some few mistakes, fully out of the points. And it's not ideal in Australia, starting P4 and finishing. And then in China, obviously in qualifying, we didn't know about you could tow each other, and we got cut off. And it's around like 3/10 sometimes in the lap. So, in this level, it's quite close. Even 1/10 is too much. Let's just not speak about 3/10. And then it was really bad qualifying again in China. And then in the race, literally lap 1, turn 3, I got pushed and wing damage. It wasn't just going away, and then I was quite heartbroken, not gonna lie. I was yeah, I was quite sad. But then coming to Bahrain, I knew it's probably one of my strongest track for this, like 4 tracks we have in this event. In quali, I was actually quite sad a little bit because I think my last run should have been pole anyway. I just made a mistake in the middle sector, costing me like on 2/10. But in the race, I knew we have a really good race car and a race setup, and then we just went for the strategy that was a little bit risky, but I guess it paid off.
It worked. Sorry, Matt, I just want to jump in because quali, as you mentioned, Barry, you weren't that happy. You had your head within your Scuderia Ferrari shirt over it. How did you go from that position, where you haven't scored a point in the championship, to a race win now? How did you get motivated, fired up for this?
To be honest, it was so hard. Like after China, I just wanted to go home. I genuinely had that feeling that I don't want to see anyone. I just want to go home. But obviously, I spoke with a team. Team spoke to me. Thanks to Tiziana, Cam, they just spoke to me and they said, last year everyone had this type of moments and you bounce back, and you are Barry Burman, you can do it. And I was like, yeah, I am Barry Burman, let's just do it. And then, but yeah, I mean, I was obviously you need a little bit of luck, and I think I had that little bit of luck in today's race. But I will take it. After 2 really bad races, I will genuinely take it.
That's what I was going to ask, mainly because both myself and Alex are trying to process what we've just watched. We were constantly shrieking, standing away from the monitor. We couldn't really believe the 3 wides we saw. What was it like to be part of it?
Terrible. Like every time I'm going to inside of the corner, I was like, please don't outbrake yourself. Make the corner, make the right move, because if you make a little bit of a mistake on ERS, if you do a driving mistake or anything, you will end up P6, and it's done. It's GG, because so many drivers pitted so much later than you, so they have the fresher tire and they will attack you, and you just going even out of the point, from win to out of the point. So I think I managed it quite well in the race, and I'm super happy to finally got a good result, and it's a type of comeback.
It certainly is a type of comeback. We can see you enjoying it more with every moment. You've talked about bouncing back after the difficult start to the year. How satisfying is it to come out on top in a race like that, where it could have been any of the top 6 at a certain point?
Well, as a driver, I don't think I would like to be part of that. But because we were P6, we took a really risky strategy, because I had to save tires to make medium soft work. And at the same time, you have to fight. So it's quite tricky, but at the same time, we took this decision with the team, and we quite practiced this type of strategy at facility. So if you end up the position like this, can we save the tires and maybe don't use the hards? And I'm super happy it paid off. I'm super happy I took the right decisions in the race. And I remember lap 28 when Esteban finally passed me and I was P2. I really wanted to go for it again, and my engineer said, the next lap is last lap. I was like, okay, wait, let's put it on now. Let's save ERS, and then because you kind of want to be P2 going to last lap because of how powerful DRS is. Yeah. And yeah, I'm super happy I took this.
I don't know if I speak for Matt and Alex. The fact that I just got so many questions for Barry. Barry brings his energy to the whole arena. How will you as a teammate lift Nicolas Longuet? Because when he was down in that first race in Australia, you were the one leaning across and you got this. I feel like the Ferrari way is to say, you're Nicolas Longuet, you have got this. You're Barry Burman, you have got this. So how will you go away now and get prepared for Jeddah tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, Nicolas has been my best friend in this community, and we ended up being teammates, and we won the championship together. I think I cannot name you a single driver in this whole grid faster than Nicolas in the race. It's impossible. I learned so much from him. He's just super talented. He's crazy. He's so fast. But at the same time, we know that in this championship this year, with the way the game is, with the way the championship is, it's going to be super close. You can, as I said, you can end up being P1 and at the same time, tiny mistake, and you're P10, P11. But I'm sure, he had some few bad races as well. But I'm sure, I know Nicolas quite well. I'm sure he will bounce back, and hopefully he will win tomorrow as well. So Ferrari can leave this event with 2 wins.
Barry, thank you so much. Congratulations on that race win. Let's look at the driver's standings, provisional standings right now, before the stewards will have some work to do later on. And as you see there, Ismail Fassi, we heard from him. chatting to Claire. He had a P2, wasn't quite satisfied with that, but as Alex Jakes alluded to, any one of 6 drivers at one point could have won that race. Fantastic stuff, and as we go down there, just 4 drivers yet so far to get a point, and I know there's a few others as well, but really, really close races that we are enjoying so far. And let's have a look at the constructor standings then. What does it do? Where does it put Scuderia Ferrari? It changes everything, and Williams at top. Dizzy heights. I don't think they've ever been there before.
What is this, the 90s? Williams at the
We'll
top of the
all
Constructors' Championship.
Nigel Mezza moustache tomorrow. I cannot wait for it. Listen, I welcome to the desk Marcel Keither. We knew that was going to be fun. Bahrain, what did you take for it? Highlights, and I know as the analyst we are going to be delving into something. I think about a 6-minute highlight clip. Don't worry about that, guys.
Yeah.
Honestly,
highlight.
The Marcel monologue begins now.
The race was so boring at the beginning. Like we had overtakes, but I was like, there's nothing going on. It was just like pretty basic. I mean, the start, of course, we had a few moves here, like with Frederick from the back, we could see the chaos unfold. He got tagged and lost a lot of positions just because of that incident in turn 1. Fell back down to P16, I believe. I think even Otis Lawrence overtook him. You guys are actually free to join me, by the way, because I have a lot to talk, and you can.
Yeah. No, you got 5 minutes to go, mate.
Yeah, no. We're actually laying down at this point, mate.
But no, it's actually like the beginning of the race. I was like, when is it gonna happen? And then suddenly the pit stops again. It started to go crazy, and I mean, this race was just, in my opinion, at the end, even more chaotic than Australia, maybe.
Yeah, it really was. I think we didn't get lulled into a false sense of security. We've had enough races around Bahrain International to know it was going to explode. All very well behaved at this stage. When Manley had gambled on the softs at this stage, he thought his race was done. Ronhaar, that's the moment where we saw him having to take avoiding action on the curb, lost a couple of places.
Yeah. And he also got pushed off from Barry at the exit. Probably Barry thought he would be ahead, but actually Ronhaar got back onto the track in time. Maybe the stewards are going to have a look at that, I don't know. But the flick in again.
Ronhaar loves one of those moves, doesn't he? Round the outside. That one was more composed, and I'm sure something we'll see a little bit later on, where he was very lucky to not cause a bigger incident.
But Ronhaar always does it. Like I think he's actually the latest breaker on the grid. Like he can brake super late, and then suddenly he does this flick, and the car just stops. And he makes these moves around the outside beautifully. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that from any other guys, unless they actually have a tire advantage. So yeah, Ronhaar is kind of fearless.
What did you make of Fassi as well? Once again in the mix for the victory, and really showcasing that he's a championship contender this year.
Honestly, last year, because I was also working with Williams, I was teammates with Fassi towards the later stages of my career as a driver. And Fassi, he is a big talent, but I did not consider him yet ready. But definitely, I told him just 2 minutes ago, he's ready now. He's ready to fight Ottmar. He's ready to fight all of them. Like, if you can do it twice, I mean, P1, P4, now maybe P3, depending on how the penalty situation is, because I've heard that Istvan Pukki, his penalty might get removed.
Big.
And this is where Lucas lost his front left end plate for the first time, and later on he also lost the right part of the front wing. But yeah, Fassi he's amazing. Honestly, he's such a likable guy, so funny. And actually, a little fun fact about him, he told me all of his English skills, that was when he lost the second part of the front wing, all of his English skills he actually learned only from watching Formula 1. Not from school, he said from watching F1, probably you, Alex.
I love that. I hope not, for his sake.
So there's Jarno getting very caught up on the inside apex of turn 1 as well. We've seen that a few times, haven't we, in this race?
Yeah.
It's just so easy. You can lose a couple of positions if you're just in the wrong position at the wrong time.
Marcel, were you surprised by the amount of brinkmanship that went into this corner? Because I was surprised by how many drivers were prepared to risk their entire race by throwing it inside.
Yeah. 3 times I was like, no way, you guys are pulling it off. And nearly every time it went wrong. So no, I did not expect that, but we see there's chaos this year. They are willing to risk it all. It seems like every race is the final race of the championship. And I mean, we love to see that.
I want to ask Marcel, I think Jarno may be the only driver that I see that runs with this zoomed-in camera. Do you like it? Do you know why he uses this?
I think, I mean, in sim racing there's something called field of view. If you lower the field of view, everything feels a bit slower. And I think Jarno has like the field of view on the maximum setting, so it's like as close as possible, and everything seems a little bit slower than it actually is. So I think that is why he's doing it.
Just personal preference.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
And then here again, oh my god, this is what we're talking
Okay,
about.
so
Oh
that-
my god.
That can be race over.
That could have been his front wing just like Lucas, but he got away with it that time because it was tyre to tyre.
Crazy. Crazy, honestly. These guys, I mean, he's in the championship fight and he's like, I don't care. I want to win.
I mean, I love it, honestly.
Yeah.
It does feel like a marked difference. I mean, I haven't been covering this championship since 2022. It feels like the aggression has gone through the roof.
Yeah, it's
certainly from lap 20. It really has been hyper-aggressive stuff, continued all the way through the field.
I mean, how difficult is it to keep your nose clean? And it would appear incredibly difficult. And to remain your composure and calmness for these drivers and not let it get to you.
Sorry, Tom, I saw this bubbling over a little bit. Did you as well, Marcel, between Otis and Freddie?
Yeah.
It felt like there was a little bit more argy-bargy than we see.
You will
they
see
were
it now.
constantly trying to get the position, and it felt like it was almost bubbling over a little bit at some stages of this.
I think there's a point when Freddie also has enough like of being pushed around. He's very clean, but at some point when a certain driver is not giving him the respect, you see, oh my god, that's actually crazy. Then he's, I mean, I don't want to recall it, but Mexico 2022, we remember what happened there with Ronhaar and Freddie. If there's a point where Freddie's like, I have enough of you, then sometimes these moments can happen.
So this was the Ronhaar moment, sorry. This was where it could have ended.
This for him.
For our eventual winner, and that's the moment that took him off the podium.
Honestly, these are the moments where I think Ronhaar might... he's definitely ready to fight for the title, but maybe these are the moments why he is not a champion yet. He could have fought 2022 and 2023 for it, but stuff like that, there was no need to...
Turn 11.
Yeah.
It's turn 11. You don't see a ton of passes into turn 11.
Yeah, and that's when Freddie got tagged again from the back, so...
Freddie's had a disaster of a season so far, hasn't it? It just really has not worked out for him.
1 point, it never was that bad for Freddie. Like, never ever was the start to a season so bad for Freddie, so let's see what he can do tomorrow. He's good at street circuits, so maybe tomorrow is his day. But Australia was also a street circuit, so...
This was the final lap, and this was where, essentially, Barry Burman got the victory, because these two went side by side through the first couple of corners, and it allowed
We didn't see that. Jarno passed Ronhaar on the line.
As if the race needed anything else. That's outrageous.
That is crazy, honestly.
Focusing on the winners across the line. Barry Burman's day, superb for him, delighted for him. But that race just had almost everything.
The title for that, willing to risk it all in Bahrain.
The risk level, so many times there, they're lucky to not rip wheels off, let alone wings. So... I mean, I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure the team managers did.
They probably didn't. Otis Lawrence is just behind there chatting to Brendan and a few of the other guys. They were watching the highlights of that moment with Freddie Rasmussen, very excited about everything. Can we look at the tyre management just to get a sense of...
Non-existent. There we are.
There you
Next.
I mean, I just want to highlight on the Tom Manley, thought it was all over, then moved to the hards.
Great for him. Kept his head, because it would have been very easy for your shoulders to go down. Anyone gets a hint of a look, dive to the inside, you give up the position. He never gave up, he stayed with it. That's an unlikely podium. But remember, could get a reinstatement for Pookie.
Can we also just talk about the fact that one of the tyre strategies was not to start on the medium and the amount of drivers...
Do what you want. It's F1 sim racing in 2025.
I mean, yes.
There are no rules here.
But you know what I also didn't understand? Why did Manley stay out so long but then go for the hards? Because you could see 1 or 2 laps later, people going for the softs. So I think the mediums, with that, he would have maybe created a gap of, instead of 3 seconds to Barry, maybe 4 seconds, and the gap would have dropped slower. If they would have fought, maybe he would have actually been...
So you're suggesting when he said he binned it by not going onto the medians. That's what you're saying there, Marcel. The opportunity.
Yeah, I think he should have actually went... I mean, I'm not a driver. I don't know the data of the team, but seeing 1 or 2 laps later everyone going for softs, then surely the mediums would have been enough.
Wow.
He didn't need to go for the hard, so I don't know.
Let's go back in time a little bit right now. Let's hear the team comms of the Scarlet Racing team with Barry and Nicholas.
Congratulations, Barry. Good job. See? Not so bad, eh?
Come on, man! Come on! Let's go!
It was like a delayed reaction. And
You know why?
First of all, camera, hearts, kisses, then come on,
No,
man!
you know why? Because all the drivers agreed because it's like distracting, especially in qualifying. If you celebrate too loud, you might get a penalty or you get a warning.
That came from Fassi 100%.
Yeah, but
Fassi slammed the stage on the first qualifying of the season several times. That's definitely come from that.
We'll keep an eye out for that. I look around me, I'm looking for an interview, and I know exactly where it's going to be taking place. Not right here. It's in the special Claire Cottingham room. She is with Jarno Opmeer.
Claire Corner.
Claire Corner, indeed. Well, I mean, it's lovely to have you, Jarno, joining me in Claire's Corner. I'm going to start calling it that for the rest of the championship now. Second in the championship at the moment. We were talking about this. Is this better or worse than it was this time last year? And how are you feeling?
I think it's better than last year. I'm not sure. But I've had better starts, of course, to the season. I think there was a lot more in there, both in Melbourne and today in Bahrain. So that's frustrating. A little bit too greedy at times. Sometimes maybe a little bit too conservative. But yeah, that's the whole game we play kind of in F1 Esports. So yeah, a little bit frustrating. I think there was a lot more in there. Even from P11, I think I could have won the race today. But yeah, just a tiny bit too many mistakes with overtakes and so on. So that's frustrating. But yeah, I know what we have to focus on for the future events already. Obvious one is qualifying, of course. That is not as easy said as done. But yeah, I've got the tools available to improve for sure. I think in the last week in the run up to this event, I already massively improved in qualifying, which was crucial. I think today as well, I could have perhaps gotten pole, but yeah, one tiny mistake in the last corner was the difference between P1 and P11 in Q2. So yeah, it's just all about ironing out those mistakes. And yeah, tomorrow Jeddah is one I'm really looking forward to. Last year I was really looking forward to that one as well, but not that great of a result. At the same time, yeah, it's again a street circuit and you just want to kind of survive. So
yeah, it is about that. Your stance is incredibly different from mine, so I feel like I've got to chill out as well. I feel like we should just lean back, because I feel like I'm up like this otherwise talking to you. I'm going to lean back a little bit and go for the chilled vibe in Claire's Corner. You spoke about Jeddah. Let's just talk about the race a little bit first, because you mentioned that you got a bit greedy. Can you just kind of talk to me about what you mean by a little bit greedy? Where did you get a bit greedy? Was it just trying to take too much when there wasn't enough track? What was going on?
Yeah, in China, of course, all the moves went very easy. Partially also down to the fact that I was just patient and making the moves at the right time. And that just wasn't happening. I wasn't cutting through the field smoothly. Because I felt like the first stint didn't go well. I would have liked to make more progress in that one. So yeah, I think that kind of frustrated me. At the same time, I think my head was not as clear anymore as in the first race. I think I do struggle a little bit with having multiple races in one day. So, but yeah, that's what you have to deal with. I think everyone has that kind of issue. So yeah, just slightly the wrong moves at the wrong time, and yeah, I think at some point I lost 2 or 3 positions in one lap, even though I had the freshest tires of them all, which was very frustrating. Otherwise, there was the opportunity for perhaps a podium or a win. So yeah.
Okay, you've been doing this a long time now, so it's really interesting that you can still find and analyze exactly where you could have improved. Some people might think, oh, at this point in your career, you might think that actually there are no mistakes, it's other people's mistakes, but you're always so candid with when actually there is a mistake. Is that just through learning, or is that always how you've kind of approached racing?
I mean, in racing, no lap or no race is perfect. So there's always something to improve. At the same time, also the game physics are changing year on year a lot. Strategy is changing a lot. Yeah, there's just so much changing, and it is really hard to be on top of everything year after year. I think we can see that with every world champion we have on the grid. So because you're a world champion one year doesn't mean you're going to be it on the other. Not to mention, it seems like the younger guys just absorb new information just slightly faster.
They're getting much younger as well, much quicker, aren't they?
But yeah, at the same time, you got youngsters that were really good last year that are kind of struggling a little bit this year. So yeah, it just really depends. Just I know I'm one of the oldest on the grid. I think I'm a 4th oldest, which is a little bit crazy to say, considering I'm 24. But yeah, it is what it is. Just got to keep pushing. Freddie had a tough few races, but yeah, we all know that perhaps tomorrow is still going to be bad for him, but in the next 2 events, he's going to be there. At least in the past, he always has been. I know when I was fighting him for the title in 2020 and 2021, I had a huge advantage going into the last 6 races, and then he just won 3-4 races in a row. Yeah, that's sometimes a little bit scary. Obviously now I think he had a much worse start. But I'm quite confident that he will get back on it. So,
have you just given me the right to call you a veteran now? Is that where we've gone with that, or is that no? I was also going to say, will you come back again to Claire's Corner? But after I've said that, probably not now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's my 6th year in F1 Esports, which is not too crazy in terms of real Formula 1. But I mean, I think it's just Brandon and Freddie. On 8 seasons. Brandon obviously stopping at the end of the year, so then it's just Freddie on 8 seasons. So yeah, I think I'm slowly getting there to veteran status, even though I'm only 24.
40?
14.
Okay,
that's what
so
I mean. My head is tired today.
All right, well, thank you so much for chatting to us. You're not the veteran just yet.
Thank you.
Wow, so much to take from that. 6th year in the game, he's losing his mind. All drivers, when you go to Claire's Corner, you don't know what sort of questions you'll get, and we probably have another retirement on our hands. That's what we learned there. But Jarno, another race, we know what capabilities he has, what he's capable of coming back tomorrow, and the Red Bull need to pick it up, especially Freddie Rasmussen. Last question before we round out the day's action. I'm going to ask you, driver of the day, there's been 2 races, and why? Marcel, let's start with you, sir.
I mean, actually, there's so much going on in one race that I can't really remember the other race. Like, I only have Bahrain in my head. I would say Prix, because Prix, like, he didn't race last year at all. It was always Nico and Barry, and now he's showing up for Mercedes. First race, I think he finished P2. Then, I don't know where he finished in China.
Yeah, China.
But now that comeback from P16, if the penalty actually gets removed from what I've heard, then he finished P2.
One of the greatest comebacks.
That is crazy, honestly.
Matt, yourself.
Well, I was going to go with that, but I'll change my answer because it's an overall driver of the day, and it has to go to Fassi. Fassi, once again, just being in the mix. It's been so impressive to see his mental strength, just to be able to turn up every single round so far and deliver at a championship level. We've not seen that with many drivers at all. In every single racetrack we've been to, there's always been one where a driver's been poor. Burman's just finally got a victory, and he's had a terrible last 2 races before that. So it's got to be Fassi for me.
And his form coming into this was no points in the last 6 races. So yeah, extra special for him. Jakesy, a difficult answer now, because maybe you had Pookie. If you didn't have Pookie, you definitely had Fassi.
Yeah, so I'm going to go for the driver who's realistically had the best day overall. When some heavy hitters aren't having the best time of it, Jarno Opmeer is just chipping away at the point standings, got the win earlier on, got a move on the line. It's not been the easiest time for anyone out there, but he's quite close to the championship lead. All things considered, if you look at other people's days, other people's events so far, I think he'll be quietly very pleased with his work today.
Excellent stuff from yourself, Marcel, to Matt. Don't you point at me. It's really,
what about you?
It's not important.
Tom Deacon has a driver of the day, but who is it, Tom?
No, I don't.
Look at Tom going through his notes all of a sudden. Unprepared.
I would say
the green team turns.
I will say this based on the fact he had to retire in China and then getting the win, Barry Brumand, and what it meant to Scuderia Ferrari, and how, if they hadn't have picked up such a big points haul, you could be saying the season is definitely all over.
Good answer, Tom.
So thank you very much.
Great answer.
Thank you very much.
Superb stuff.
A big thanks as well to Claire Costidim, aka Claire's Corner. There'll be more of that tomorrow when we come back. I've just checked the F1 Esports Instagram, and it will be at 1600 CET. If you're not already following,
that's how we find out when we're on. By the way,
that's all the information.
We just look at the socials,
and then the race will be at 2100 Central Eastern Time. That's when we'll be back, and obviously the headliner today, willing to risk it all. We've definitely seen it today. We'll catch you tomorrow when we go racing in Jeddah.